Hey folks, welcome back to another Poem Master video, and with Hilbert coming out tonight, right, as usual, let's talk about the sync pair and all that stuff, right? So, I will be summoning, by the way, for the Halloween sync pairs, when they drop live, so hopefully that won't be too terrible, alright, if you compare it to, what happened with Volkner. So, anyways, let's go over it. So, Fall Hilbert. Very powerful unit overall, right? It's a striker. It's a striker, and it has basically good everything, right? It doesn't really have like any. There really aren't too many downsides about this sync pair, and let's go over it, right? Obviously also has an EX 6-star outfit, which gives you the AOE sync move thing, right? So, anyways, let's go over it. So, dark type, weak to fairy. Its passives. And this is why it's so amazing, because it basically does not need any MP to get max stats, right? Which mainly only useful in Valvilla, which we don't exactly know the future of right now, that mode, but still it's good regardless, right? Carry on. Raises user's attack each time another Pokemon on the field of play faints. You got Spur on 4, charges user's move gauge by 4 each time another Pokemon on the field of play faints. So once you take out something, not only are you getting +1 attack, you're also getting +4 move gauges as well, right? So that's fantastic. Dark Shift, normal type moves become dark type moves. It has a normal type offensive move, which we'll talk about in a bit. Anyways, yeah, as for its stats, it has really amazing stats. Like, it's 745 HP, 350 attack, right, with good defenses, right? I mean, these are they're not amazing, but they're solid defenses for a striker, right, with 745 HP, and then 267 speed, which is probably the worst stat on it. But then again, it has Spur on 4, which charges your move gauge by 4 every time you take something out. So like, this thing is fantastic. It's just so incredibly well built, like even at 1 out of 5, right? Moving on to its moves, got Crunch, small chance of lowering target's defense. I mean, it's Crunch, right? It's basically your physical version of, I guess, physical dark type version of your Shadow Balls, your Psychics. That sounds a bit weird. You got Bug Buzz. You guys get the point, right? X attack, sharply raises, uses attack. Double Edge. Very high BP, normal type, but gets turned into dark type because of Dark Shift, right? Does have that 25% recoil, which is a slight issue. 3 gauges, single target. And then you got Roar, which is the trainer move, which sharply raises user's speed, radically raises the speed if affected by a status condition, which won't happen, so just take it as sharply raises speed. And then sharply raises users crit and lowers both defenses. Can you guys hear the dog scratching at the door? Anyways, yeah, so it lowers both defenses, which is not the best thing in the world. But then again, if you compare it to, like, say, some other train moves that give you very good buffs, they obviously will have to give you some kind of a drawback, right? Like Red's My Destiny, and this is fantastic because it gives you +2 crit and +2 speed. So if you use 2 of these, which you can, there's 2 MP, right? You're getting what, +4 speed and +3 crit. So you max out crit, you get +4 speed. Like, this is just like, this unit is just so good, right? Just overall fantastic, right? With like, even though it's speed, again, it's not like it's bad speed if compared to like some units that we've been getting recently. This is actually really good speed. But overall mediocre speed. But it gets fixed with the +4 speed that you get by yourself, and then you also have that +4 move gauge every time you take something out. And obviously, its attack is good, as high BP moves, has 745 HP, which also sort of remedies with not only the recoil, but also the defense down that it gets from the trainer move, right? Like, insanely tanky in terms of HP wise, right, and all that stuff. Good damage, like. And again, move gauge is not an issue at all. So, fantastic unit. And on top of getting the +1 attack every time something faints, every time you use your sync move, you get +1 crit as well. And it doesn't even hurt your, like, BP, right? On your sync move, still 250. So this is fantastic as well. It's just a very sustainable strike. It's like, if Iris was like a gotcha unit and insanely good, right? It's super good, if you guys can't tell already. So, yeah. Anyways, at base, it's a very very good unit. Moving on to the grid, it got so much good stuff in its grid as well. You got ramming speed, extra 30%. Power up, right? When you max out your speed, which you could do relatively easily, or at least get to +4, right? You got Haymaker, more attackers race, more powers up sync move. This you could easily get to +6, right? You got X attack twice, and then take out 2 units, and boom, you're at +6 attack, right? You don't even need any supports on that part. Insult or injury, the more the target's defense has been lowered, the more powers up move, so even more multipliers. Like, the amount of multipliers this guy gets is crazy. Gritty 5, it's another multiplier, although very, very bad, I'd argue, but it's another multiplier, right? Yeah, so also super duper effective 1, just in case we needed more, right? Which we don't. We don't need more. It's overkill. It's overkill. Also, as for some other stuff, right? To remedy the double edge, Recoil got 2 stand fast nodes over here, got first aid over here, got 2 move gauge refreshes on double edge, which is fantastic, and Terrify as well, or attack. I don't think it's really that useful of a node. Just more so them trying to like just try to give Mightyena like intimidate, right? Because it has intimidate in mini games. But yeah, if you don't want to use double edge, right? Yeah, that's fine. If you want to invest in double edge, you can just go crunch. You got 2 move gauge refreshers on crunch. Crunch still does like a ton of damage, right? It's not like in the situation of like Hilda or Elisa, where like, okay, if you don't have recoil moves, your only other option is a 2 gauge move with Hilda doesn't have any multipliers other than Sun, right? Elisa has a lot of multipliers, but like in general, it's still not as good as a 3 gauge move, right? In general, just in terms of base BP. And then you also got crunch on a roll, higher chance to lower the opponent's defense. Also really, really great that it's super close to insult and injury over here, right? Because these two obviously, work in conjunction. Speedy entry if you want that, I guess. Haste so you don't get your speed lowered. It's just fantastic grid, fantastic base unit. This is incredibly good. A few things though. Now that we're talking about more so the banner and stuff. It is a separate banner for those of you who don't know, in terms of the Hilbert banner and Ace Earl banner. They're 2 different separate banners. Obviously, if your favorite character, if you love Hilbert, all that stuff, go for summon for it. If you like Ace Earl as a character, you should probably go summon for Ace Earl. However, in terms of just usefulness wise, in terms of how powerful they are, I'd say Hilbert is by far better than Acerola, right? Obviously, very different roles. I just don't see Acerola as useful, right? It's basically confuse. It's confusion and defense down, and then like some ghost type damage, right? Which it's nice. It's nice. It's not bad. It's just nothing extremely special, right? On the other hand, Hilbert is a very sustainable striker that does a lot of damage and gives itself a lot of things, right? A very, very complete striker in that sense. Yeah, Hilbert's really, really good. Hilbert's really, really good. I would suggest going for, like, even at 105, it's fantastic, right? Even at 105, it's fantastic. I'd say this would be a one of the better units to go for. If you want to spend gems here, right? The only thing is, like, in terms of like Hilbert and Karen, right? Hilbert and Karen are 2 very, very, very different strikers. Like, these 2 are kind of like the polar opposite. Karen does a ton of damage, but Karen does need it's a much harder setup, right? You need a lot of setup over there, and Hilbert's the exact opposite, right? Well, not the exact opposite. Hilbert still does a lot of damage as well, but Hilbert is just more of a sustainable striker. In general, I'd say Hilbert's better, but if you already have 3 out of 5 Karen, I don't think it's like that big of a deal to pick up Hilbert as well. If you don't, though, I'd say it's definitely worth picking up, especially if you do need a dark type striker, right? But as usual, in terms of banners and all that stuff, you are summoning on them. Wait till the last day, just in case you get more news on anything else in the future, right? It's just not overall. It's just not good summoning on a banner on the first day, right? Unless you're me, but not everyone's me, which is fine, right? So again, if you're summoning on it, I'd probably wait. till later, right? So anyways, yeah, that's maybe this one. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video. So our channel for some more Pro Masters content. Again, I will be streaming some summons for these things at reset. So that should be fun, and I'll see you guys there.